Hello, thank you for clicking on the video. I do appreciate that. If you find yourself enjoying this video, I do hope you hit the like button down below, as it really helps push it with the YouTube algorithm. If you find yourself coming back to my channel fairly often, I do hope you hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you get notified about when I'm going live and my upcoming videos. Now, if you haven't seen any of the previous The Outer Worlds videos, you can check out the playlist here. And if you just haven't seen the last The Outer Worlds video, you can check out that video here. Now, without further ado, let's poof on in, play some of the Outer Worlds. Need to go here and see what quests are for me.
Wrap Musk and Canid Eyes, right here. Hello, stranger. Can I interest you in Raptidon tongue? Or maybe some Canid toenails? You look like a man who's looking for some mostly fresh animal parts? Oh, good. Celia hasn't come by in a few days, so I haven't sold much.
Yeah, I don't need. That's disgusting. Well, crap.
Could I get another advance, Mr. Nandi? Greetings, and welcome to Monarch Stellar Industries, producers and purveyors of the finest salt tuna in Halcyon. What can I do for you today?
Shut the fuck up! No, I'm just kidding. What was that exchange about? You having money troubles? I'm just looking around. What was that exchange
Or is
about?
he
You
not
having
paying
money
you on
troubles?
account of how he tried to fix the thing his own self and busted it even worse, and then said you wasn't fixing it fast enough, so he's docking your wages again? Not that I got any prior experience with such.
Not at all. Mr. Nandi treats us all right and pays us well. I just spent most of my paycheck on Raptidon acid.
Do you normally blow your money on Raptidon parts? Well, that's stupid. Do you normally
Laws,
do that?
no. Sometimes it's canid teeth, or mantis worm wings. Whatever Sebastian has in stock, really.
Why are you buying so much from Sebastian? If you've got that many bits to spend, then I've got some trash to sell you. Why are you buying so
So
much
I can
from
talk to
Sebastian?
him, of course. He doesn't get going about much else.
I reckon she's got a little bit of a squish on this fella.
He's sort of the
Squish.
strong, silent type. Unfortunately, my apartment's kind of filling up with his stuff. And some of the neighbors are complaining about the smell.
Well, yeah, maybe I can talk to him for you. Just ask him on it. Maybe I can talk to you
Would
for him.
you? I'd appreciate that so much. Maybe don't tell him I wanted you to ask. Just that you met this really nice lady named Celia, and she seemed... Oh, Mr. Nandi's doing that thing where he breathes through his nose real slowly. I'd better get back to work.
Wait, I'm curious. What are you saying, Sebastian?
He doesn't talk much, but he's got this quiet intensity, you know? Like there's stuff going on inside his head that you have no idea about.
Oh,
Plus, he's got great legs. It's hard to find a man who doesn't skimp on lower body exercises.
don't skip on leg days, gentlemen. You heard it from her yourself. You really want to be with someone you can't talk to? There are other fish in the sea, Cecilia. That's all I need to know. That's all I need to know.
Sorry, sometimes I get carried away.
I'll talk to you later. What about you,
Well.
buddy?
New business turns up at last. Celia, didn't I tell you our new statistics-based advertising model would be a hit?
That you did, sir.
How can yield improvements of 26.7% not quicken the pulse? How can 32% cost savings not moisten the loins?
You've often posed these very questions.
Clear my schedule. This newcomer has a meeting with me.
It's very generous of you. No, you have a meeting with me. Maybe sometime, some other time. No, you have a meeting with me.
Did you hear that power play, Celia? They don't make them like this anymore in Halcyon. I only hope you don't judge me by my handshake. Now, what business brings you here?
I'm just looking for the information broker. I'm chatting my own path, going where the wind takes me. I'm just,
Hiram?
looking
Why,
for the
he's
information broker.
Probably still out at Devil's Peak. Not that he's had the courtesy to notify me, at any rate. But if you're here for him, I suppose that means you aren't here for Saltuna.
Hey, it could always be both. Afraid not. If I have to eat one more weird science project based off his food in the Sprat colony, I'm going to stab someone. Just tell me how to find the broker so I can get out of here. This one.
Yes, that's it. Channel your anger. I only wish I could do the same.
Seems like you're having a rough time, Mr. Sanjar. Are you doing quite all right?
Oh, don't worry on my account. This is merely the latest in a long line of professional erotic and athletic disappointments. I had hoped that livening up our advertisements with enticing figures would draw the other corporations back to our bosom, but it seems we're back to the drawing board.
Aw, what exactly are you hoping to accomplish? If you're free of the other corporations, why would you want to bring them back? Sounds like a personal problem. I've got other concerns. What exactly are you hoping
Thanks
to accomplish?
to the so-called hazard clause, Monarch has been cut off from the board's resources and protection for 10 years now. Now, we've kept ourselves in business by trading with individual corporations, but given the off-the-books nature of those transactions, such arrangements are precarious.
I feel that. And you're tired of scrounging and scraping by, is that it? Sounds like you're freer than anyone else in Helsing. Why not embrace it? Sounds like you're freer
You talk
than
like
anybody else.
Graham.
Freedom always sounds nice, doesn't it? It makes a rather pretty slogan. But if you sit down and tally up the costs, how you provide for yourself in the absence of aid, how you protect yourself from a hostile galaxy, it starts to lose its shine.
I could see that. You make a good point. So what do you mean to do about it? That's a coward's answer. So what do you mean to do about
Well,
it?
Mr. Nandi here has a rather ingenious plan to get MSI restored to the board.
On our terms, mind you.
But will that help the people here, Mr. Sanjar? Keep them fed and safe?
That's precisely what I'm trying to do.
And if our advertising scheme hasn't borne fruit, then perhaps it's time we took matters into our own hands.
This lady knows what's going on. Enough preamble. What's the plan? This lady knows what's
It's
going on.
true. Our Celia is an alarmingly competent middle manager. At any other company, she'd be wasted in data entry. The plan she refers to is a two-pronged approach, and the first part involves seeing Stellar Bay properly defended.
You do seem to have a bit of Raptidon problem. Fine, you know how. Fine, but how do you mean to do that? How long did it take you to figure that you needed to defend your city? Fine, but how do you mean
With
to
a
do
Bolt
that?
52 cartridge, of course. If you can get us what we need to rejoin the board, starting the Bolt 52, we'll be able to become one of the most productive and secure cities in Halcyon.
Okay.
And you'll have a powerful ally on the board.
Give him the cartilage. Do you mean this one?
Oh, yes. I'm going to be up all night with this. All those blanks waiting to be filled, boxes waiting to be ticked.
Try to control yourself, sir.
Have you any idea how powerful this is? Corporations have been toppled with less.
How exactly is a data cartilage going to help? You made it sound like you were sending me after a weapon. How exactly is
What
the
a
data cartilage
question!
going to help?
Bureaucratic micromanagement is the only way anything gets done in Halcyon, and proper documentation is a key part of that. For our part, a bill of liquidation/transfer Form 52 will protect our holdings on Monarch by temporarily assigning them to a pass-through entity once we drop our bomb on the board.
Yes, finally, the board will get their comeuppance. Spare me the details. Just tell me what comes next. Let me guess, a paperweight. So you do want to go against the board. Don't be ridiculous. So you do want to go against the board. Don't be ridiculous. Yes, finally the board gets
Sort
their
of.
comeuppance.
Really, we're just going to blackmail them into offering us a seat at the table.
But really, whatever gets you excited about the idea. It's definitely a firm middle finger.
Nice. I can get behind that. Just tell me what you're planning. I can get behind
That's
that.
what I like to hear. I have reason to believe that one of the other corporations is operating on Monarch, illegally and in secret.
Is it really illegal if the board's the one that makes the rules in the first place?
If we can find proof, I can use that as leverage to encourage certain powers that be to accept our Bolt 52 and reinstate us on the board.
Sanjay, you sly dog. What does that mean for me? Sanjay, you sly
You
dog.
really think so?
I do.
I
Pretty
admit,
impressive.
I've been hatching this scheme for quite some time. I just needed someone capable to help me carry it out. If someone is operating here, then Catherine's almost certainly supplying them out of Fallbrook. Perhaps she could be convinced to tell you where they are.
I know how to make people talk. Sounds like you know her well enough. So I know how to make people
Oh,
talk.
I imagine you do. But as much as I love your can-do attitude and dangerous gravitas, Catherine handles all of our shipments. So it would be best if you could leave her in one piece. Is that how you people put it?
Close enough.
Once you, subtly work out where this corporate facility might be, bring back proof of its operation. Maybe some nice letterhead. Or someone working there. That would do it.
Infiltrate a secret corporate base and kidnap the staff. Sure, easy. I'm on it. Infiltrate a secret
A
corporate base and
foolproof
kidnap
plan if I
a-
ever heard one.
Kidnap an employee.
I'll leave the execution to you.
Wait. I found your review on a terminal in the arms building. I have a question about MSI in the good old days. I found your review on the
This
terminal
has
arms.
been my albatross. The great shame of my career. I give MSI everything. My work, my youth, my left kidney, and for years, I was a joke to them.
Your left kidney. Who cares what they think? You're in charge now. That much was definitely clear. Your left kidney?
One of the executives required a transplant. I thought volunteering to donate might improve my prospects.
Did it?
Apparently not.
Who cares what they think? You're in charge now. That's what you get for giving so much of yourself over to a corporate. Who cares what they think? You're
In
in
charge of a
now.
scrap heap of a city. Abandoned by the board and surviving only through the hypocrisy of our trading partners.
And you've made it work. That's more than anyone can say for those when you put it that way, it does sound pretty pathetic. And you've made it work.
I hadn't thought of it that way. But perhaps there's something to that. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Was there something else?
I have a question about
Then
MSI
it's good
and
that
the
I
good
keep such
days.
meticulous notes.
How did MSI get kicked off the board in the first place?
I've asked myself the same thing many times, especially seeing as the legal mechanisms we employed were part of the board's own bylaws.
Do you mean that you initiated your own removal from the board?
Not intentionally, though that's technically true. For many years, this planet was home to as many corporations as Terra 2. But back then, it was known as Terra 1.
Well, what happened to the other corporations?
As you may have noticed, this planet has more than its share of hazards. And as the other
Yeah.
corporations began to tally their losses, they decided to pull out.
Seems wise, but not MSI, right? No guts, no glory? No guts, no
That's
glory.
also what I thought. Oh, we were young and bold then. Not unlike yourself. we saw the chance to improve working hours and conditions, to reform MSI from the ground up.
How forward thinking of you. Forms are for quitters, Sanjar. Let's discuss this another time. How forward thinking
It's humane, but it's also good business sense. Exhausted, sick, and malnourished workers are not productive workers. Even a cursory review of the data bears that out.
I hope you'd treat them nice, whether it was good business or not, Mr. Sanjar. That's what being a community means. Treating people right, because it's the right thing to do.
A noble thought, Miss Holcomb. Unfortunately, noble thoughts rarely sway board policy. Anyway, we learned of a loophole in the corporate bylaws that would allow MSI to claim ownership of the entire planet once the other corporations pulled out, creating the perfect environment for us to enact these new reforms.
I take it your leadership didn't embrace your ideas using the board's own tools against them, then clever who's this us and you keep talking about. Using the board's own tools against
That's
them.
what I
clever.
thought. But the senior executives laughed in our faces and insisted we'd be relocating to Terra 2 along with everyone else.
Yeah, here you are. I hope you gave them the finger. Guess you missed the transport. Let's discuss this another time. I hope you gave them the
In
finger.
a manner of speaking, many of us stayed behind, in an act of quiet but firm defiance. As the most senior executive remaining, I ended up in charge of what was left of MSI. I moved forward with our planned reforms, as well as our strategy to assume ownership of the planet. Yet not long after I renamed it Monarch, the other corporations dislodged us from the board and began an official campaign to paint us as lawless savages.
That's low even for them, but why would they do that? You should have known you couldn't oppose them. That's low even for
I
them.
don't think I realized how far they'd stoop. Everything we did was legal and above board. We followed their rules, and yet they still found reasons to declare us outlaws. I do think there's something useful in a governing body like the board. Something that keeps us from anarchy, but I dearly wish it functioned differently.
Why exactly do you want it back on the board? What's the hazard clause? You don't seem to think much of Graham. I want to talk about something else. Why exactly do you
Why
want to be
wouldn't
back on the
anyone?
board?
They own nearly all the resources and infrastructure in Halcyon. To be on the board is to be part of the colonial community, and being cut off means slow strangulation.
They've treated you pretty roughly. Is it worth going back to that? I can't fault you for your practicality. Seems to me anything's better than the corporate yoke. They've treated you pretty
I'm
roughly.
not a man to put pride before progress. If membership on the board can ease our hardships and provide us with opportunities, then that's the path I mean to pursue. Besides, I'm hopeful that additional leverage on our part will allow us a more equitable relationship.
You mean the corporate data you sent me after? Good for you. Force them to the bargaining table. Just be careful the board doesn't mess around. Good for you. Force them
I've
to the
discovered
bargaining
it's
table.
much easier to negotiate from a position of power. And I don't mean to leave MSI or its people at a disadvantage. My hope is to maintain the reforms we've managed here, and who knows? Perhaps once we're restored, we could spread them to other corporations.
What's the hazard
It's a
clause?
legal provision that gives the board the authority to cordon off any planet or location that it deems dangerous.
But wait, what happens to the folks stuck on the wrong side of dangerous?
Well, I'm afraid the welfare of a few hundred people is too minor a figure into the board's risk assessments.
And they've invoked it on Monarch. You sound skeptical. Seems like a seasonable restriction, actually, and they invoked it on Monarch.
making all of MSI criminals in the board's eyes. Rather hard to run a business that way.
You don't think much of
He
Graham?
and his followers call themselves the Iconoclasts. Lawless anarchists, all of them. If anyone on Monarch deserves the reputation the board's pinned on us, it's them.
Sound pretty bad. You've got strong feelings on the matter. Maybe you should give them a chance. You've got strong feelings on the
I'm
matter.
trying to build something here. They only want to destroy things, and they risk ruining Monarch for all of us. It isn't just that they drain our people and resources. Every radical act they commit cements Halcyon's image of us all as destructive rebels and pushes us further from the rest of the colony.
I see that.
He's lucky the board doesn't take him seriously enough to keep more than a few UDL gunships patrolling Monarch.
An Earth Directorate assault cruiser would change his tune. It's almost a shame we haven't seen one around Monarch in a long while.
What
Okay.
can I do for you?
We're just gonna leave. View data. Pausing so you guys can read. And okay. Pausing so you can read. Okay. And that's it. Pausing so you guys can read. Okay. Hello, vending machine. $15, $15, $11, $11. Okay.
Don't think I've seen you around. That means you must be new to Stellar Bay. You are new here, right?
That I am. Whatever, I'm not here for chit chat. Hate to break it to you, but I've been in Stellar Bay for a while. You seem surprised.
You must have seen those UDL gunships on your way in. There's only 3 of them these days. Still, they tend to scare folk off.
What are they doing out there? It takes more than a few gunships to
Wish
scare
more
me.
folk could say that. Gets awful quiet guarding a landing pad that never gets used. You may not have heard, you being new, but Stellar Bay hardly ever gets off-road traffic. Us being cut off by the board and all. Which means I never get to do this part, but I've been practicing, so here goes. On behalf of Monarch Stellar Industries, welcome to Stellar Bay, home of the freshest sal tuna in Halcyon. Please state your name for the records.
Captain Poofy, me, I'm Alex Hawthorne. I prefer to travel discreetly, if you know what I mean. I don't have time for this, Captain Poofy.
Swell. There's one for the logs. I'm even gonna give you your own entry code. I'm not supposed to do that. It's against procedure, but Mr. Sanjar isn't so strict about the rules here. Besides, I got a lot of empty entries to fill.
Is Stellar Bay really that isolated? You're not what I expected to find on Monarch. I'm going to have a look around. Stellar Bay really that
We don't get
isolated?
ship traffic in town. Only off-worlders who do make it out here are Sublight. They got a base in Fallbrook. And thank the stars for them, or we would have run out of Rizzo's Purple Berry Crunch years ago.
You're not what I expected to find
that'll
on
just
Monarch?
make Mr. Sanjar's day if you tell him. The board makes up lots of nasty stories about raptidons and cannibals and whatnot. But that's all outside our walls. Mostly.
I hate this board. Are you saying the board's been lying about this place?
Oh, sure. They make Stellar Bay sound like a rotten place, but it's not so bad. Get a good breeze going, and the sulfur smell mostly covers up the fishy smell. Anyway, Mr. Sanjar's got lots to say on that subject. Kinda goes over my head, though.
Okay, I'm gonna have a look
Mr.
around.
Sandra will be mighty pleased to meet you. If you see him over at headquarters, maybe you could tell him I did a bang-up job of welcoming you? Oh, and if you're headed that way, maybe you could do me a favor?
That depends. What is it?
I got this Rizzo's Rangers Tossball poster coming in on the next Sublight shipment, signed by the Black Hole himself. Only I haven't heard anything in a while. You think you could check with Celia to see if it's come in?
Sure, I can ask you about the poster. The poster sounds pretty valuable. Sure, I can ask you about
Thanks
the
a
poster.
bunch. Celia works for Mr. Sanjar in the MSI building next to the bar. She's always there, so you can't miss her.
Got it. I know who she is.
Hey, hold on there. I gotta sign you in.
You have already signed me in, good sir. Level 16. 17, 25. Whoa. 3, 5, 25, 25. I don't even know what my armor is. Excuse me, those been hurting a bit lately. What is my armor at anyways? What level is my armor? 11? Ooh. Thought my armor was pretty high up there, but it is not.
What are the chances of all the times and places we...
Well, well. Isn't often we see new folk in Stellar Bay. First drink's on me, stranger.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
Enjoy. If you plan on sitting through Nyoka's stories, you might could use a few.
I could use a few and telling them myself.
Now what can I do for you?
Let's see what you have to trade. How well do you know Nyoka? You said you're not used to seeing new faces around here. Why is this place called the Yacht Club? How well do you know Nyoka?
Anyone who spends any amount of time in this bar is bound to get to know Nyoka. On account of her being here so often herself. And I don't mean that unkindly. Anyone who's rid us of as many beasts as you have is entitled to a few drinks. Something else I can do for you?
You said you don't see many
Not
new
since Amber
faces?
Heights. These days we have more leaving than coming. Off to join the Iconoclasts or some such.
What do you call this place?
But
The
it had
Yacht
a
Club?
fancy ring to it. Name's the first advertising anyone sees, after all.
Are there any yachts in Stellar Bay? Then you might think about fixing up the sad-looking sign outside. You might think about...
Ah,
looking up-
don't be so negative. It's what's on the inside that counts. Speaking of, you look like you could use a bottle with something good in it.
Well, let's see what you have to trade. One. Dun 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 dun. You know what? I'll buy one ice age whiskey from you.
Watch your step if you venture.
And the little bastard's slippery, right? On account of its blood, so it's sliding. All over the place, trying to crawl away. Getting so I can't tell the blood from the mud.
Excuse me. Keep listening. Keep listening.
But I gotta get in there, get right in that baby rap's stomach and dig it out. If so much as a drop of stomach acid got on that medallion, shit, I don't know what I'd do. Might be I'd hunt every damn rapt out there. Right. What are you staring? Wait. You ain't from around here. Who are you?
Who are you?
Name's Nyoka. I'm the best big game hunter on the planet.
You're also the loudest big game hunter on the planet. And the drunkest.
Shut the Fair point. I deserve it, though. On account of being the best.
My dad always kept his firearms and liquors in different lockers. Said it wasn't safe to mix them.
Out here, if you ain't a little buzzed, you're liable to notice the stench of life. The grit in the air. The dust in every drink and the blood on every boot.
It's nice to meet you. I'm Poofy. Well, I'm Poofy. Are you always this drunk? Well, I'm Poofy. Are you
You
always
think
this
this
drunk?
is drunk? I gotta... you need to get out more. Sit. Partake. Buy me a drink and let's chat.
Sure, another round, bartender. I'll stay in chat, but you look like you've had enough. I'm told you can get me information, get me to an information broker. Sure, another round, bartender.
Outstanding. What are you doing in Stellar Bay, stranger?
Told you can help me find an information broker, vacation, just seeing what it's like for myself. People talk it up like it's a shithole. Told you can help me find an information broker.
Well. Let's get down to brass nuts then, shall we? Wait, that ain't it. Brass rats? Let's talk business. I'm headed back out there after I sober up. You want a guide sooner than that? You have to get me something to clear my head.
I'm not in the mood to fetch things. How much time do you need? I don't need an escort. Just tell me how to get to Devil's Peak. Sure, what do you need?
Outstanding! Our dispensary here maintains a stock of, well, I don't rightly know what they are. Steroid or caffeine somethings? Pills. They're very good. I'm cut off for the month, on account of needing one just about every damn day. But I'm sure you've got your wily ways. Fetch me one and we'll be all set.
Alright. Medical, you mean caffeinoid? That stuff's just a stimulant. Steroid or caffeine somethings. Medicine because
Well,
I'm going
they
to pay
work.
for it.
We got a deal or what?
You won't find a better deal in Halcyon than our special one-time offer for a refurbished sanitation unit. Remember, if it's dirty, it's a job for Sam.
What in the... That thing talks?
That's Sam. It helps me stay clean. Anyways, I'll go get those meds. Oh yeah, that's the conversation I want to have. Alrighty. That was fun. Once again, thank you for clicking on the video. I do hope you enjoyed it. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.